My parents bought me a puppet when I was 9 years old for Christmas.
Had you asked for that?
No, it arrived by chance. They were like, Max, here's a puppet, make a career, go.
If you use that, you'd have a body or you just have...
He's amused. Yeah, he is. I've forgotten to switch voices. We've said we've got the lines mixed up. I've had that happen, which is weird because it feels so wrong so immediately and makes no sense all of a sudden.
Were you with the support act? This is true, right?
Yeah.
Were you with the support act for Engelbert Humperdinck? Sorry, if he can say it without moving his mouth, you can say it whilst moving yours.
The worst sort of ventriloquism is surprise ventriloquism, okay? Like, at the best of times, it's difficult to get people in a room to watch whatever this is. But then to spring it on them and go,
oh, surprise, puppet show.
It's not what anyone wants.
It's variety.
Welcome to today's episode of the Variety Show podcast. On today's episode, we have a comedian and a ventriloquist who has been performing professionally since he was a teenager. Seems to be quite recently. Me. He has quickly established himself on the comedy club circuit with his effervescent delivery and sharp improvisation. Let me welcome to today's show, Max Fulham. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. If you don't mind, I like to start at the beginning, so to speak.
Must we?
Well, we mustn't necessarily. It's just it's on my list here.
Okay,
and I do find it hard.
I'll accept the agenda, that's fine.
Yes. So where did you grow up?
I was born in Beckton in East London. And again, I don't sound like I was born in Beckton. Then lived in Essex for a few years. Again, I don't really sound like I'm from Essex. Then at the age of 4, we moved to Scotland.
There we go.
So there we are. Some strong Scottish accent coming through there. So from 4 to 11, I lived in Scotland. And then when I was 11, we moved down to Surrey. It was like my parents were moving around the country going, where does this posh child fit?
They found Surrey. Yeah,
Surrey. We'll move them to Surrey. Let's see if that works.
Your parents weren't in the army or something?
No, it was just my dad's job that changed. The majority of my childhood, I'd say, like the sort of really formative years, I was in Scotland, so just outside Edinburgh.
Well, that's useful. Well, it would be useful when you get to the Fringe. You know it well.
Yeah, very useful,
You know well. Your parents, were either of them performers or any performers in your family?
No, I am the odd one out. I'm the odd one out. My parents, neither of them, I don't come from a performing family at all.
Proper job.
Yeah, I come from normal.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, quite a lot of the people I've met come from normal. They just aren't themselves.
Yeah, that's accurate. It's hurtful, but it is accurate. Yeah, that's the way the cookie has crumbled.
Growing up, you went to school and did all the normal stuff. At what point did you sort of get interested in, entertaining or ventriloquism specifically? Were you doing anything before ventriloquism?
Yeah, I'd always loved sort of performing and entertaining specifically. I liked the fact that it had an effect on people. Like, I think at some point I must have made someone laugh and gone, what was that? That was amazing. I'll have some more of that, please. I can do that.
So do you remember that as a sort of a child?
I don't remember a specific moment, but I do. I remember going, I want that to happen again. I never really fitted in with my own age group. I was always much more comfortable in adult company, even when I was tiny. And so I was always wanting to chat with the adults. And I think that was part of the reason, is because I could make them laugh. I was in choir. I did a bit of dancing, singing. I did a bit of magic. All sorts of performing and bits and bobs. And then puppets came along and I became quite obsessed with them. My parents bought me a puppet when I was 9 years old for Christmas. And
had you asked for that, or it just arrived by chance?
No, it arrived by chance. They were like, Max, here's a puppet, make a career, go.
What foresight your parents had.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So, age 9, you had your first puppet. Do you remember what it was? What type of puppet?
Like a sock puppet
type
thing.
Yeah.
Like, very simple, very simple. And I'd encountered like a few puppets before that. I distinctly remember a puppet that we had at school. There was a puppet that, in a playtime or whatever, there was a puppet and I was like, I like that. That's brilliant. So I must have shown an interest in some way.
So without getting too deep, but it's just striking me, puppets, probably quite a universal thing, I would think, isn't it? Probably across all cultures and all, some sort of thing that isn't real, that represents...
Yeah, massively. Yeah, they crop up in I think almost every culture. So there is something massively universal about them. And they're also so steeped in tradition in so many countries, even ours, with things like Punch and Judy. Like, we've got such a strong history of puppetry in this country. I love them for that reason. And I still find that universality in performing today is like, people have an awareness of puppets, even if they don't go, oh, I flipping love puppets. They rarely do say that. But people have an awareness of them and are willing to suspend their disbelief very easily.
Because it is interesting. I have a 2-year-old grandson, and before you say I looked far too young to have a 2-year-old grandson, and I got his sock and talked to him with the sock.
Yeah.
You know, it was sort of like instinctive. It's sort of like just a thing.
Yeah.
And made him laugh. And I thought to myself, oh, maybe
fantastic.
I can do that.
Yeah, great.
Well, I can do that. As long as the audience is only 2.
It's good to have a niche. It's really good to have a niche. It's important.
So, yeah, universality. So you were 9. You did your first thing.
About 9, yeah.
So how did that then develop?
So I became obsessed with puppets. I used to Google the word puppet, and I would just visit every website I could. I distinctly remember this. I think I got to about page 100 of Google, just looking at puppets, websites that featured puppets, things about puppets. And then I stumbled upon YouTube. And whilst looking at every video I could, I saw that there were these people that were stood next to the puppet whilst doing the puppet. And I was like, that's cool. I'll have a go at that. That was the start of sort of my discovery of ventriloquism, was through YouTube. I wish I was of an era where I could say, I saw so-and-so at the Theatre Royal. Yeah, exactly right. I wish I could say something like that, but it was, no, I saw it on YouTube. But, you know, that was the sort of the time I grew up in. And then I stood in front of my bedroom mirror. There was a little worn patch of carpet where I used to do practice. And I tried it. And I think because I was a child and it was just play and I didn't have any inhibitions, I kept going with it, even though I was probably rubbish for a good few years.
So you would have started that not too long after 9.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Yeah.
And so you would stand in front of a mirror while you're comparing people playing football or whatever.
Don't make it sound too sad. Don't make it sound too tragic.
No, I think make it sound driven, actually.
Driven. That's a word, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think it's that dissimilar from, say, magic, for example. So
yeah, those losers. God, magicians.
I beg to differ there, because some magicians are losers, but some magicians are wonderfully extrovert, happy people.
A lot of magician friends.
But no, what I meant was magic is something that most children at some point end up with a magic set, don't they? In the same way as a lot of children end up with puppets. On the other hand, most people don't end up becoming professional magicians or professional ventriloquists.
Yeah.
You must have seen something that fitted with your personality, I suppose.
Yeah, I think I just probably really enjoyed it. I was able to start performing at school and stuff like that. And so I think that's how it probably started going in that direction. But yeah, loads of people have a connection with ventriloquism, even if they don't remember it. People will come up to me after shows and say, oh my God, I had a puppet and do you remember? And it prompts a memory that they do have a connection with this art form, even if it does seem quite unusual and quite obscure. It's interesting you mention all the other kids playing football and stuff like that. Very true. We lived in a lovely little cul-de-sac with loads of families. And so there was a lot of kids all the same age and we all used to play out together. So very often I would be practicing in front of my bedroom mirror whilst they were all playing out and playing football and stuff like that. I also used to put on, I'd go outside and set up a suitcase on the front garden and used to perform shows for them.
That's amazing. So how old would you have been when you did that?
I don't know, but I'd say quite young. I mean, those would have been magic shows, whatever I could throw together, really. But I have a distinct memory of the moment where I realised, oh God, should I be out there with the rest of them playing football? And I remember I hate football. I hate football. I cannot express that enough. I despise it. But I made a conscious effort to get out there
and be one of the lads.
Get stuck in with the lads playing football. So what I decided to do, I thought that the perfect role for me here, hating football, knowing nothing about it, and I cannot stress this enough, I knew nothing, was I didn't want to get too involved. So I was going to be the referee. So I rock up to the field having made my cards, because any arts and craft activity was a welcome thing.
Oh, yes, you like the theatricality.
Exactly.
Being a referee.
Sorry, a whistle. Yes, please. An instrument. Great. That's fantastic. So I arrive with my yellow and red card, a whistle, and no idea of how football works. And so what that consisted of was me standing whilst they did all the work, occasionally waiting for someone to tell me to blow the whistle or hold up a card, and I would just do what they said. So that was my attempt at getting stuck in with the mainstream.
To be honest, it doesn't sound that different from many professional referees, to be... Oh!
It's one for the sports people, one for the sports fans, eh? I'm glad you're listening. Good to see you.
Okay, so you were doing it on your step to your friends who thought you were amazing.
Well, don't know. I was probably rubbish in the early years.
But you probably got good fit.
I think, aunties being like, oh, it's very good. But it's probably the only thing that sort of spurs you on to keep practicing and actually eventually become half decent, which is great. Which is why it's so important. Like any creative outlook that kids have is so encouraged. It's so important that we do that.
Yes, which I'll get on to that because you're right. Actually, I'm thinking of a nice segue here between football.
Oh, okay. I can't wait. Okay.
Football and ventriloquism or any entertainment.
Football and ventriloquism.
Well,
this is going to be amazing.
No,
I can't wait.
Only as much as to be good at it, you have to practice. You can't.
It is a lovely segue.
You can't. Yeah, thank you.
It is good.
I like using the word actually. I don't know how to spell it, but anyway, I get confused with segue and a segue, which is that thing.
Yeah,
yes.
I was baffled. Yeah.
It doesn't just happen, does it? However good you are at singing or a magic or ventriloquism, you have to put the work in.
Yeah, and I think I was very lucky that, I do feel very lucky that it was a sort of plaything. And whilst I was a child with less inhibitions and things like that I was just doing it and playing with and having fun with it. Because I don't think if I came to the art of ventriloquism now, I would have the patience to persevere with the quite significant and quite long stage of being a bit rubbish at it and looking a bit stupid. I think it would take a lot. I'm not sure I have the patience to learn ventriloquism now because you're teaching yourself to talk in an entirely different way.
At that point, obviously, you were still at school. And in your head, or in your parents' head, were you still heading towards a normal career?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was sort of very academic and all of that. And sort of all the way through sort of secondary sixth form. That was the plan. I had a place to study at university.
Did you go?
No. No. I was very much the sort of person who would have gone to university. I was looking forward to it. I was going to study linguistics at Leeds. Again, sort of all language and sounds and things that sort of tie into my wider interests. I love language and also, comedy and words, all that. And then I took a gap year and ended up with enough stuff in the diary after the gap year that I, shockingly to me, cancelled my place.
That sounds like a very brave thing to do. Did it feel brave?
I don't think it felt brave. I think it felt slightly stupid. Because I'd worked hard and I'd done all the things I was meant to do, which is sort of, that's my thing. I've done the things I'm meant to do. And then to be diverting from that sort of, that path felt really like, not rebellious, but risky and strange.
Well, yeah. And it is, I suppose. And were your parents supportive, or do they think this is...
Yeah, they were. I mean, obviously, we had to have a sit-down chat.
Of course.
We had to have a sit-down chat about cancelling place at university. But I think I've been very lucky. They've always been very supportive. But I think, if anything, I was the one that was more full of doubt once I'd actually cancelled the place. Because you see all your friends and your peers doing university and you go, I should I have done that? But that looks really good.
So moving forward and then seeing, I presume, some of your fears after university, getting stable, sensible jobs, earning decent salary, have you ever regretted it? Have you ever felt, I wish I had a normal job. I wish I was an accountant. Well, not necessarily an accountant, but you know what I mean? Just a stability.
Sometimes crave stability. I think whilst all my other friends were at university, I was sometimes thinking, should I have done that? But then I found that once they'd finished university and I'd see them after that, I realised that it sort of hit me how much I'd been experiencing the real working world for 3 more years than they had. And all of a sudden, whilst I thought they were incredibly ahead, because they'd done the academic thing and they'd done the social thing and they'd done the university thing, I went, oh my goodness, they actually haven't experienced some of what I've experienced. So that was very interesting. That was a sort of turning point. But sometimes I do crave stability. I go through what I call my Sainsbury's checkout periods, where all I want is a sort of one role job that's 9 to 5 that I can not think about once it's done. And just have and weekends. Weekends.
Have it back again. Yes, you don't have weekends. Well, they're just every day's the same. I suppose. Do you think people who aren't performers get what it is like to be a performer?
No, not entirely. No,
because in a way, part of the reason of this podcast is that we see you on stage. We see finished productions, we see magicians doing the thing, getting applause. You don't see the work that it takes to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in many ways that is almost by design, because one, you wouldn't want to see the rest of the life, but also the fact that the show is the only sort of publicly accessible bit is sort of like, it's what makes it effective in some ways. However, it was even a shock to me going full time from 18, realizing how much of the tip of the iceberg the show was.
Explain that.
The show is the thing that comes from the passion, like the real drive and the thing that I love. And you go, my goodness, I'm doing the thing that I love as a job. But you quickly realize, and the thing that a lot of audiences don't realize, is the show is so much the tip of a rather large iceberg that involves travel and writing and logistics and admin and all of that can take up quite a sort of surprising amount of your life, that isn't necessarily the stuff that is aligned with the passion that started you doing it in the first place.
And the other thing which many acts find difficult, which is self-promotion, marketing.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I think that's I feel like you need a degree in marketing more and more nowadays.
Can we talk a bit about ventriloquism?
If you want to.
Typically, we all know, bottle of gear type of line, which is the sort of the cliche thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the technique of ventriloquism? If you can, in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, it's all in the tongue, essentially. The tongue is, in brief, the tongue is coming into contact with certain parts of your mouth to help replicate the sound that your lips would ordinarily make.
So you can make most sounds using your tongue rather than your lips?
Yeah, so you're essentially retraining to make sounds that you, very naturally say via a different means, and then learning how to swap between doing that and not doing that.
So when you're two characters, yourself and the puppet, you have to swap between doing that?
Yeah, so you swap between using your lips and not using your lips.
And I presume then there are sounds which are easy to do like that and sounds which are much harder to do.
Yeah. Lots of sounds that are easy, lots of sounds that are difficult. Your sort of classic difficult ones, like bottle of beer, are called the bilabial consonants, technical term, write it down, where...
Labial sounds like lips to me. Two lips. Bilabial.
Oh my gosh.
Classic education, you see. Anyway.
Phenomenal. Yeah. It's literally when your two lips come together. A lot of them are the bilabial plosives.
Yes. Ba, pa.
Yeah. B, p, m. B, M, and P are the sort of considered the most difficult. F is a difficult one. It's a sort of, I think they call it a dental fricative. My goodness, how does he do it?
You know what you should have done? Linguistics. It would have been
well, exactly. Can you see how it ties in now?
Yes.
But yeah, so your teeth are coming into contact with your lips, so you have to come up with a different way. Some people find W quite difficult because ordinarily your lips would tighten into a W sound. So again, that can be tricky.
And I presume sounds which are just airflow, so vowels are easier.
Most vowels are easier. Again, oo sometimes presents a struggle because we do tend to change our mouth shape for that. So again, you're sort of trying to constrict the airflow with your tongue to replicate an oo sound.
Would you be happy to demonstrate a g?
A g?
A g?
A g?
A g?
A g? You can do a g without moving your lips.
Can I?
Yeah.
G. Oh, yes.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. That's one of the easy ones. That's why they say bottle of gear.
Oh, okay. That's not a hard one. It's a hard one. Yeah. Hold on. So I can say g or...
Bottle of gear comes from bottle of beer being difficult.
That's true. That's true.
Some real revelations happening on the pod today.
I've also got my finger on the
the pulse.
Oh, so pa will be it. So show me a pa. Oh,
Pa is really difficult.
Pa.
I'll tell you what I'll do. The tongue, for me, when I do the letter P,
yes.
it's in a similar sort of area to where you'd make the letter T, sort of the alveolar ridge, they call it. God, I'm just coming thick and fast with the technical
terms.
terms.
That's on the moon, isn't it? I know,
yes, it is. Yeah, it's a phase of the moon. And what I'll do is I'll go from the letter T,
yes.
and I'll change it into the letter P so you can hear the sort of transition.
Yeah.
And that's essentially through like more contact with the tongue and holding the air in a different way. So essentially go T, 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 P, 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 until it becomes P, P, pretty indistinguishable from the actual P, P.
That's good.
P. Thank you so much. It's a full-time career. Yeah.
Do you get that lining from cab drivers? What's your proper job? That line. Do you get that still?
Do you know, I was doing a show last night and someone came up to me who'd seen me a few years ago. And, they'd seen me a few years ago doing a solo show. And last night they saw me in a massive theatre. And they came up to me afterwards and they went, so are you doing it full time? And you're like, again, it's what people don't understand about the job is they don't necessarily think talking to yourself is a feasible career, which for many people it's not because it's talking to yourself.
I've never looked at ventriloquism as that, basically talking to yourself.
You've never thought about ventriloquism as talking to yourself?
Well, no, not actively. I thought you were talking to a puppet, but I didn't realise the puppet, that's just...
It's me doing it. It's me doing it all.
Well, yes, that's... It's very true. Can we just look at the young one first? So this is, gosh, you're a sweet child. What happened?
Well, exactly. Well, precisely.
How old were you?
I have no idea. How old do I look?
10? 9, 10?
Yeah, I might go even younger than that, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
And that would just be a hand puppet?
That is a glove puppet that came with a Marvin's Magic set.
Oh, Marvin, yes. That's a big thing. So many people get their first things in Marvin's Magic, don't they?
They do. They do. It's why he's a very rich man. And no, he's an icon. But that was the top hat and rabbit puppet that came with it. Quickly became my obsession over the rest of the magic kit because there was a puppet involved. And I love the fact that he had a little sneaky hole in the back of the hat. So it's like, how does the rabbit do it? And I felt like a really cool, clever person. Became obsessed with that. You know, luckily enough, I now know Marvin and I've met him a few times. And to be able to actually sort of shake his hand and say, thank you so much,
but
is amazing.
I think he must have started the careers, well, particularly magicians.
So many.
And a lot of them worked in his stores, as
demoing.
Demos.
Loads of people in Hamleys have been sort of demonstrators and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's actually also spawned a ventriloquist, which is, I don't think what he set out to do. So sorry, Marvin.
How do you develop the characters of your puppets?
It massively varies. When I was younger, it was a case of, I really like that puppet, I want to buy that puppet, so I'd buy that puppet and then sort of work out a character from there. I think as I've sort of moved into doing it full time, it's more that I will create the character first and then have the puppet made, or stumble across something and go, that could work really well if I do that with it. There's lots of different pathways that I've sort of had to creating characters.
And typically a show would involve how many different characters?
Oh, interesting. It varies for me. Some shows I will use 3 puppet characters, but then there might be like actually 6 or 7 voices in the show because there might be a few talking objects. Or
that's what I remember specifically doing my research about your use of voices for inanimate objects.
Yeah, I love that. I'm a huge fan of it. I think it's fun.
Which is quite interesting, isn't it? Because we also shout at these things sometimes as though they were people.
How many of us are talking to objects every single day? Or how many of us are being spoken to by objects every single day? It's becoming more and more. I mean, it sort of started with the sort of when you could put any celebrity's voice on a sat-nav. Those were those days. But now we're regularly asking a little ball in the corner of our kitchen to play the radio. Alexa, buy tickets to Max Fulham's show. Just
buy tickets to Max Fulham's show.
So many objects are interacting with us, but also so many objects look like they've got mouths. So, pedal bins, that's fun. All sorts.
Well, I shouted at the toaster yesterday, I think.
I can't help you with these problems, okay? Magic went through a similar transition from like very big boxes and very sort of grand illusion stuff to it went through a renaissance with street magic where that became sort of very trendy and cool and stuff where ordinary objects were the king.
Yes.
And I think you go from puppets being, for a long time now, have been the thing to then go, oh, actually, what happens if you put it in, based more in, even if taking it to the absurd, based more in reality with everyday objects. And I think that's sort of, I've tried to track that similar path.
Were you growing up with spitting image?
No, I wasn't. No, I was aware of it though, because I was a little nerd, little comedy nerd. So I'd YouTube as much as I can. So I definitely did encounter spitting.
Because I sort of grew up with spitting image, which obviously had a huge, I mean, obviously that was slightly different because you just saw, but it was still voiced,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Voiced puppets. And obviously used for a political effect, which at the time was, quite unusual because beforehand it had just been entertainment. Well, not just, but you know what I mean? There are things to be said. Maybe things you can say that you can't say.
Yeah.
We won't get on to the Trump as puppet because he could already be one.
Oh, so many people have done Trump puppet now.
Well,
yeah.
I'm sure. Well,
So
that's
many
the trouble.
people, but it's almost like fruitless to do now.
Fruitless.
But puppets can say a lot. Yeah.
That you could not otherwise say.
Yeah, hugely. I mean, that's essentially the basis of my act, but both sort of for political stuff, but also just generally, the puppet can get away with a lot more because they're not real.
I believe you brought some along with you.
Yeah.
Could I see some examples? Maybe the old one to begin with.
Oh, yes. A bit of history.
A bit of history.
Bit of
history.
It's variety.
This is an old ventriloquist dummy head, which is very old, but has been restored by a brilliant friend of mine called Austin Phillips. Check him out, Instagram, Phillips Puppets. But he restored this beautifully.
It's beautiful.
Leonard Insell, who was he's probably the iconic ventriloquist figure maker from the UK. He was incredibly prolific, made lots. But this one has 3 movements. It has the mouth, which is key for the act. Come on, let's be honest. It has eyes which look this way, and you can tell that most ventriloquists were right-handed because the eyes were made to look to the ventriloquist. So they only go that way on these old ones. And the other movement is the upper lip, which is that, which is quite fun.
He's amused. Yeah, he is.
How old would that puppet be, the original?
I mean, this head is probably coming up to maybe 100 years.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's paper mache as well. Like, he was just a master of paper mache. Sometimes you can date old, especially British ventriloquist figures. You can date them by taking up the back of the head. You can look inside and sometimes catch a date on the newspaper that they use.
They use the paper mache?
Yeah, which is quite something.
So you don't use that, or do you use that in shows?
I have used him in performance. Yeah, I've got a few old ones, and I think it's really, I quite like bringing something that would have performed a long time ago back to the stage. I think that's quite cool. But also I think they're less commonly seen. They're also the ones that people say they're terrified of.
Yes, they're the ones that
absolutely. Which is why you're sat so far away.
Yes, I've noticed.
You've recoiled. That was good.
That was good.
You've recoiled. But people will say, "Oh, I'm scared of puppets. I'm scared of puppets," and I struggle to believe that because most of them are adults. But it's it is a thing. I think these ones have been represented a fair bit in sort of horror
movies. I mean, definitely that look, isn't it? That sort of big-eyed, yes, slightly mad smile.
Yeah, it's like that. But also, you've got to remember that these ones and also other ones which look even sort of cruder paint-wise were never meant to be seen close up like this or on very good cameras. These were meant to read on a Victorian stage. These
so had very.
So if you look sort of head on, his head is tilted slightly up. He's by default slightly looking up to a circle for a theatre. But also, this is stage makeup. This is why they do come across as so garish and are so perfect for the sort of horror stuff, is because they had to be painted to read from the back of a massive theatre, which again is another thing that I love. I think they have such a great look to them. So that's a genuine old head.
So ventriloquist dummies like that would be in cabaret shows at the turn of the century, sort of 20s, 30s, 40s.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, lots of them. This was sort of...
And if you use that, you'd have a body or you just have...
Do you know what? For a while, I was tempted to just have...
I quite like it like that.
I quite like it as well. Okay, I'm glad I might pursue this now.
I quite like that.
But yeah, I have used him with a body. Yeah, it's hours of fun. But yeah, I use him with a body, and it's really fun to bring these older heads to the stage again.
Well, let's look at a slightly new one of your own.
Yeah, I'll get my granddad.
Get
my
your granddad.
Shall I leave him here?
Yeah, you leave him here.
I'll leave him there by the plant pot.
By the pot pot. Here's a plant.
Wow, bit of set dressing.
It's variety.
This is your grandfather.
This is my granddad, Eugene. Yeah.
Eugene, is he up for an interview?
Yeah, of course I'll do it. It's nice to be. A pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Have you done a podcast before?
I've done a few. Never in a lovely place. You spent a bit of money, haven't you?
Yeah.
You spent look at it. Panelling. Real clients. They're as real as I am. You spent a bit of money.
So
it's an expense, though, isn't it?
Your name's Eugene.
Eugene.
Yeah. It was very, very kind of you to be here. Just what's it like working with Max? Is he?
It's a pleasure. It's a thank you. It's a pleasure to be performing alongside my grandson like this.
Yeah, that must be.
I don't want to.
You're getting emotional. Yes, don't get too emotional.
I said I wouldn't. Got that long lost that. I've been on a collar bit. No, I'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I do detect a family resemblance, actually.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
No, it's just maturity in general.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Hair. No. So, Eugene, what would you say is the highlight of your performing career? Where have you been?
The highlight of my performing career, and other than the variety show podcast.
Yes, other than that, would you take that as read?
We've done some good things.
Yeah, we
Podleaf and me, just because of the age. We were the support act. This is true, right?
Yeah.
We were the support act for Engelbert Humperdinck. Sorry, if he can say it without moving his mouth, you can say it whilst moving yours.
Engelbert Humperdinck, that's the one.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. And where was that?
We did a show in London at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big...
And then Liverpool as well, the big...
Oh, the Empire?
No, the... what's it called?
Was it like the Philharmonic Hall or something?
Philharmonic Hall, yeah. That's great.
That's
that's lovely.
It was nice.
Very, very nice. And sorry to be personal, but a man of your age, are you able to keep going? I mean, not keep going literally, but I mean...
Does he know how this works? Have you told him? He saw you put your hand in it. He can't be.
I think
I'll play along. I'll keep it happy. In my old age. Oh my God, what the heck's that? Scared the living daylights out of me. But no, oh gosh, yeah. As long as my fabric lasts, then I'm good to go.
So you must have seen, being of the age you are, a lot of other performers. Is there anyone out there who has inspired you as a...
Inspired me?
Yeah, or Max for that matter.
Funnily enough, it's mad this, but I think it might be some sort of condition, but... I've only got clear memory of the last 26 years of my life, actually.
I wonder why that is.
I couldn't possibly say.
So if I can ask you, Max, though.
Yes.
In terms of inspiration now, or performers, not necessarily ventriloquists, but just a performers in general, who do you rate?
Oh, so many people. Both from the sort of comedy world and the ventriloquism.
It's scary.
That's fine. But I mean, it's everything from like Harry Hill. I think is amazing. I think people massively underrate silliness, and I think his is some of the best silliness in the world. Vic and Bob, all sorts of people. And then in the sort of ventriloquism world, so many people. Ray Allen was technically like flawless.
He used to have dapper suits, didn't he?
Very well dressed.
Very elegant, yeah.
Then you have people like Terry Rogers. She was utterly phenomenal.
Terry Rogers, who was one with Lamb Chop?
That was Shari Lewis.
Shari
She
Lewis.
was also absolutely phenomenal. Both in sort of, she was very, very funny, but also she did some incredible work for sort of children's stuff as well.
It's interesting, actually, come to think of it. There seem to be very few female magicians. There do seem to be quite a lot of female ventriloquists.
Yeah, I also think it's just generally a smaller pool. Ventriloquism is a lot more niche. In general, but there are a lot of brilliant female ventriloquists. You know, Nina Conti's continually smashing it now, but Terry Rogers was incredible. Terry Rogers tore up the working men's club circuit and did some really sort of like stag, really difficult gigs. She was very glamorous, but she was also a trans woman as well, which do that in that time was absolutely astounding.
Do you know Faye Presto?
Yeah, I know Faye, yeah.
So that's sort of similar, because I mean, she was trans way back, way back when.
It's absolutely incredible. But then Shari Lewis is another phenomenal female ventriloquist. I mean, you look at her adult stuff with Lamb Chop is still hysterically funny, but her children's TV work is fantastic as well. And her daughter Mallory is now continuing on the legacy with Lamb Chop. Yeah,
I didn't realize. And she's American, isn't she?
She's American. Yeah, Shari Lewis was American. Yeah.
And is that where it mostly resides now, or
ventriloquism?
Yes. Does it exist I presume it exists. Well, we talked about the non-English ventriloquist, French ventriloquism, or any language ventriloquism is a thing. Universal performers everywhere.
Yeah, it crops up all over the world. I think there's a strong ventriloquism scene in the UK, in America. Obviously, slightly different styles because, you know, we've come through British comedy, music hall, all of that, and they've come through vaudeville and a slightly more American style. And I think it crops up in different places with slightly different sort of cultural influences, which I think is really cool. So sort of like Indian ventriloquism and Japanese ventriloquism are very different, but in really cool ways. And it's so nice to see it reflected through their cultural lens. I'm such a little nerd. I love all that stuff.
Practice.
Yeah.
I presume you still do, or do you still?
I'm not as disciplined as I want to be, but it's an undeniable part of the job to practice things, go through things, rehearse things, run things.
Not so much the individual show, but the actual techniques of ventriloquism.
Yeah, I mean, I'll check in with myself for sure, because I have to keep on top of it. As you get older, I think the lip control becomes a lot more difficult.
Early retirement for you.
Yeah. No, I do think it becomes more difficult. So I'll definitely keep an eye on that. But also, like, once you've got the technique down, I'm also, you know, I know that I also, now the ventriloquism is reliable. I've got to focus in on the comedy side of things and the sort of the stuff that really makes it all work.
So tell me the process about developing a new show, for example.
Well, we're in it right now, actually, developing a new show for this year's Fringe in Edinburgh. And it sort of sometimes start with a broad concept, sometimes start with what characters I want to be involved in it. I'm not in it. You've made the cut this year.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm in it.
Oh, you're in it, sorry.
I'm in it. I've made the cut. I've not been cut.
So you're on my deaf side.
No, don't worry. It's fine. It's nice to be here. But lovely place. You said that. Yeah, I like the fact we're so far away. It's good.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, this is when
do a podcast of the Last Supper in here.
That's not a bad idea.
No, it is a terrible idea.
Yeah, but it's a weird process because you do like sort of preview shows and work in progress shows, which I hadn't done before the sort of process of putting together my first Fringe show last year. And that's a terrifying process because I was very much used to going out and you have to smash it. Failure is not an option. Whereas actually with work in progress shows, you ultimately there will be bits that don't work as well, and you've got to go through that process, and it feels so intrinsically wrong. You're like, oh God, I want to give them a good show, and I want to, but you've got to go through the process.
Trust the process. Yeah, it's advice.
So you come up with the characters. You come up with a structure.
Yeah,
and you go out and do a work in progress. Yeah, and you feel what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, make a lot of notes, record as much as I can, watch it back. Oh, it's dreadful. It's never nice watching yourself back, but you get a gist for seeing what works. You get to play around with it, and hopefully try and enjoy yourself along the way.
And how much of a show would be improvised?
I love to improvise, and I'd say in any show I do, there is often something that is off the cuff. I tend to build in little pockets that are deliberately for improvisation, but then at any point anything could happen that I will have to respond to.
Yeah, so if the audience heckles or does something.
Heckles or something occurring, or something new occurring to me as well, something that's sort of popping into my head and going for it.
Which is exciting.
I always like to leave space for it.
Does the puppet, I know, I mean, you gave me the clue that actually...
Look at me when you talk to me.
Sorry, but yes, Max very kindly explained that actually he is the puppet, which thank you very much for that. But does the puppet ever have a mind of its own and actually get slightly carried away itself?
Yeah, well, this is what those sort of horror films play on, is that what actually is going on in the brain and stuff like that. I don't think I can truly say that he has ever said something fully without my control. However, I have had it where he will start a sentence before I've fully thought through what is the character has launched into something before I've fully thought through where it's going. It almost feels like I'm catching up with it. Obviously, he doesn't have a life of his own.
Ruin it. Wrecked the illusion.
They know. He doesn't, but sometimes it can feel like he's just slightly ahead of me and does genuinely catch me off guard.
I suppose part of the magic or the joy of ventriloquism is for the audience to believe that he does have a mind of his own.
Well, this is the thing.
So you have to make it... There has to be that edge that it almost does.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a combination of not moving your lips, then you've got the puppetry, then you've got the acting, which I think is something that people really don't take any note of, which is good because it sort of has to be a hidden thing. Is that I'm acting the whole time as if I don't know what he's going to say or haven't heard it before, and keeping the conversation genuine for an audience. So there's a huge element of acting that goes into the act.
So this is what I mean, I think, for particularly specific with ventriloquism, people don't quite get what's in it.
It's misunderstood.
Exactly.
You're very misunderstood, aren't you?
So you get the Gottel gear, not moving the lips, but you are operating physically the puppet. You, as you say, you're acting, so you're having to react as though you've not heard, or indeed, that's quite complicated.
You're telling me.
It is a lot. It's a lot of multitasking.
Do things go wrong?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like what? Name me a wrong thing.
Things
the
going wrong which is why sometimes you keep it in. Sometimes you keep a mistake in. I've said a line that was actually meant to be in his voice. I've forgotten to switch voices. We've got the lines mixed up. I've had that happen, which is weird because it feels so wrong so immediately and makes no sense all of a sudden. I've had puppets sort of fall apart. Wear and tear. All sorts goes wrong. Stuff in an audience in a comedy club, they can be quite interesting environments. Things can go wrong there as well.
What's your preferred type of gig, location gig?
It's really interesting. I love comedy clubs.
Is that? I mean, obviously, still is a thing. But me growing up, and I went to one because it was way back when. But that was the heyday of the comedy club, the Comedy Store, the Square, and out of which came all these TV people.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, obviously, it's still a thing, but is it still where it's at? I suppose in terms of new developing talent, as opposed to, I suppose, where you get all your inspiration, social media, YouTube, watching.
Yeah. In many ways, yes, and in many ways, no. Like there is a massive circuit of brilliant nights for new things to come through, and new people are joining the circuit every day. Like there's so many wonderful acts out there, but at the same time, there's also a lot of regional gigs which are just for more established acts, and are less a place where sort of the new exciting stuff will happen. And you just have really sort of solid pros that are on the circuit. So I think the comedy circuit has obviously changed, but it still has a massive place, and there's still a lot of work out there. We travel all over, and I think I like the variation in terms of the gigs. Sometimes you're in a purpose-built place like the Comedy Store in London, and sometimes you're in a place that is not made to be a comedy club, but for that evening it's become a comedy club. It's a room above a pub. It's a school hall, and it's become a comedy club for that night. And you're there. There's a group of people, and there's a microphone. Now do your thing. I think that's because it's sort of on sort of raw end. There's no showbiz around it usually.
No.
It's a really nice immediate thing. I like it a lot.
Do you want to be famous?
No.
You sure?
No, I don't think so. I mean, lovely to be known for your work. I think that's nice.
Oh, I wouldn't mind. A bit of fun.
But I think like the idea of like actual fame is a bit scary, is it not? Actually, not think it's a bit. I think it's a bit weird for people to like know who you are.
Well,
all the time.
It's interesting. I mean, I ask most of the guests that very question. Most of them give sort of a similar answer to you, but there are a few who say yes, definitely, because it symbolises I'm successful at what I do. But does it though necessarily?
Not necessarily. It can be a byproduct of really nice things. Like it can be a byproduct of success, of notoriety, of sort of really good work. And I don't think I would like it, even if that was the case, all the time. But I know that
once you're famous, you can't switch it on and off, can you?
It can come as a sort of symptom of that. Yeah, I don't think it's not the aim. The aim is just to sort of keep doing it, really, in sort of bigger and better ways. The sort of more people I can make laugh, the better. Really, that's my thing.
So, in terms of like big theatre shows, there must be ventriloquists in Vegas, I presume.
Yeah, there's been a fair few ventriloquists in Vegas, yeah.
But in London or in England, there is not sort of an equivalent sort of...
There's not a desert, no. There's...
Very droll.
Thanks.
That's nice.
Thanks. So, Eugene, you mentioned that singer who's got the very...
Yeah, what's his... Remind me, what's his name?
Humperdinck, that one.
Yeah, what's his first name?
Engelbert.
That's the one.
Yes.
Put it together.
Oh, yeah, difficult. Engelbert Humperdinck.
That's the one. Yeah, I remember now.
Phew. At the Theatre Royal.
Yeah, the Theatre Royal. I mean, those were weird gigs. I mean, we objectively
a booking error.
But like, yeah, they were strange gigs. Still haven't met the man. I've supported him twice. Still haven't met him. No, I didn't see him.
How does that work?
Well, exactly.
Well, hold on, there must be a large audience.
Yeah, massive. Yeah. But those were interesting gigs. It's not really something I've done before. But also, like, you walk out, people don't know there's a support act, so you walk out and people go, "You're not Engelbert Humperdinck," and then you say, "I'm the support act," and they go, "Oh, there's a support act for Engelbert Humperdinck. You're still not Engelbert Humperdinck," and then you say, "I'm a comedian," and they go, "Oh, he's not even a singer, and he's not Engelbert Humperdinck," and then you say, "I'm a ventriloquist," and they look at you like you've kicked their dog. It's the worst sort of ventriloquism is surprise ventriloquism, okay? Like, at the best of times, it's difficult to get people in a room to watch whatever this is.
But at least they know.
Then to spring it on them and go, "Oh, surprise, puppet show." It's not what anyone wants.
So that must have been a struggle. A bit of a struggle.
Absolute struggle.
Yes. I went to see Barry Manilow. This is a reverse.
Oh, my gosh.
Barry Manilow in concert at the Palladium.
Amazing.
And they had Jimmy Tarbuck as well.
Well, that's more appropriate, isn't it?
Well, sort of, but not that appropriate.
That's more appropriate.
Well, he's not a singer either. I mean, he's not a ventriloquist.
I think that. I mean, there's a long history of comedians supporting singers and bands on tour.
I suppose of the same
but
generation.
At least he's of the right sort of
generation.
And it makes sort of sense rather than sending out 26-year-old ventriloquists.
It didn't make a lot of sense.
Did it not?
Not really. But you're on a bit of hiding to nothing, aren't you? If people don't know who the warm-up act is, or even if there is one, they're just after the main act, aren't they? So
yeah, it was that was tough. But yeah, we've done some unusual gigs, but some brilliant gigs. And in terms of like large theatres, the Blackpool Opera House is a place we've performed a few times as well, hosting shows at the Blackpool Magic Convention.
Okay.
Can't stand magicians.
You can't. We like magicians.
We like magicians. And TV, is there opportunities
in
TV?
I've done some TV. I haven't done loads of TV. I did. They brought back Crackerjack.
Did they?
They did a few years ago, and I did 2 series of that. I did a spot on both series of that, and I was preparing for a third, and then it disappeared off the face of the earth. Which is the way with TV.
Yeah, but it's a shame all those opportunities that they used to. So again, growing up, Rod Hull and Emu and all those.
Yeah.
See, that was interesting because that wasn't even a ventriloquist, was it? Because he didn't really say anything other than bend his beak up.
Didn't say a word. There was no ventriloquism involved.
No ventriloquism at all. What's a puppet involved, though?
There was a puppet involved, and actually, those clips still stand up. They're well worth a watch. They're so funny.
I know.
The slapstick is so good.
But so this is what I was thinking, when we were talking about whether things get out of control. You know that moment on Parkinson And that felt in the moment as though he'd lost control of the bird, which obviously he hadn't. But that...
Yeah, I think Michael Parkinson had lost control of his show.
Yeah,
but Rod Hull very deliberately knew what he was doing.
Yes.
But he was a loose cannonball. I can't see he would go. He would really go.
But that's become iconic, hasn't it? That
absolutely, yeah.
Do you want to recreate it? I can go for it if you like.
No. So I'm sitting here and you're over there. I have flashbacks. I have had flashbacks. This is the first time I've done a podcast with a puppet.
You're welcome.
No, I'm delighted. I'm delighted.
Do you want me to stay or should I stick around? I'll sit on this shelf.
Yes, and there are no strings on you, and I could burst into some song.
No strings. No, I'm not that sort. Do we all look the same to you? Unbelievable.
Yes, that reminds me of an Avenue Q song, but I won't go. In general terms, you're white, you were in Surrey, you came from a relatively comfortable background.
Yeah.
As did by far the majority of guests on this show. And it does strike me that it is very hard for people who don't come from that background to make it in any form of entertainment at the moment because it's so badly supported, I think, by the government.
I think what's really difficult is...
answering an earnest question with a puppet on your hand.
Yeah, I'll put him down for this.
Oh, God, there I go. Good luck. Deal with that. Deal with the earnest question. All right, take your hand out now. No. Oh, my, how have you? There we are.
No, I've had that before where I did a chat show at the Fringe once and I had Grandad with me and I was sat there on the sofa and the next guest that came out was there to talk about their quite serious illness and I was there with a flipping puppet on my hand and I was thinking, I don't know what to do because there's nothing funny about this. So all I could do with Grandad would just occasionally have him earnestly nod. Anyway, your question is totally valid. The comedy industry, there are the sort of usual routes, but it's a bit broken in terms of like open spots. You can be on them for years unpaid. So how are you?
But that's what I mean.
There's no support for that. I think sort of state of creativity in the creative arts in schools is a travesty at the moment. Oh yeah, we'll just lump those together or we'll get rid of them entirely. It's absolutely atrocious. I think it's really, really bad. Yeah, I mean, I've been incredibly lucky. I've been so lucky. To come from the background I do.
Because I've spoken to a couple of Irish guests, and in Ireland, there's money available from the state for artists, development money.
Yeah.
Not arts council, but literally some form of support.
Yes,
Which I think would be good here, because I think for too long we've looked upon art and art subjects as sort of the lesser, it's always STEM subjects where you can make your money.
Yeah, of course it is. But I've been thinking this since secondary school because I've been on this soapbox for a while. Like, it was only because the senior leadership team of my secondary school couldn't track the arts on their spreadsheets that they didn't like us. Like, it was because they can't put a number in that little box because they can't define what we're doing in that classroom. But they don't understand the importance of what we are doing in that classroom. It's absolutely awful that because it doesn't fit into your data set and there's not a clear number and it's more creative, that you can't take the moment to sort of go and watch what's happening and see the sort of the personal development or the creative development or the confidence, the self-awareness, the teamwork, all of those other things that do come along with creativity.
And I think that's right. So apart from making it as a potential profession, which as we discussed is not necessary for everyone and it's hard, it does give things to everyone.
Oh, without a doubt. Like, I think it's so mad to me that it's not obvious. Doing drama and music and art is not there necessarily primarily to make you do that as a profession. It is there because it helps with so many aspects of your life. Like, everyone should be doing
you're
it.
Right. Things like presentation skills, or even more inherently confidence, for example, which is such an important thing in life to possess.
Yeah, and just getting to explore stuff.
Yeah.
Like feelings, movement.
Oh, I can't be doing with that. Feelings.
I know. Awful, isn't it? Terrible.
And then, so probably a big jump, but you wonder why there's so much mental health issues. I do think, being involved in art, using music as methods of expression can't be bad, must help.
Oh, absolutely.
Is he still going with the serious stuff?
Yeah, we're still on it. Mental health now.
Oh, God.
But it's...
how's yours?
No comment. But it's... No, it is.
You're a split
I
personality.
think it's professional schizophrenia. It's so the arts has not helped. They've made it worse. It's no, of course it helps. Of course it helps. Having a creative outlet helps so much. I mean, I went into a school a few years ago and helped organise their a talent show for them, and to sort of see through the weeks what happened with those kids that were involved in the talent show, and to see the changes in them in the classroom as well, and see how that translates is really special. And like a load of puppets that I don't use anymore, I donated them to the school, and they used in drama lessons those puppets. And you also find that with puppets, they can massively help confidence. They can help communication. This particular school is for moderate educational needs, moderate special needs, and some of the students will be more able to communicate through talking through a puppet than they will themselves. And puppets have less complex faces, so are more easily communicated with and to. Yeah, it's amazing, and definitely needs to be encouraged more.
Definitely. Finally, if you were to give any words of advice, not necessarily to someone who wants to be a ventriloquist, but just who was thinking of making a living as a performer, whatever that might, what would you say?
Oh, okay. Maybe don't focus on making a living from it too soon. It's really important to keep the sense of play alive and stay connected to the passion that started it off. Because if you too quickly become stood on that iceberg where the thing you love is only the tip of it, then there's a chance that you could fall out of love with it, because there's a lot of other stuff that will come with it, and your passion will become work very quickly. And whilst you're still getting to do the thing you love, it's now intertwined with a lot of other things that are a bit different.
That's very true. And I think you're right. I think to maintain that sense of play and that passion,
I think it's so important,
and is really difficult. That's why sometimes I think it's better for some people to just have it as a hobby, so they can maintain.
Yeah. Oh, that's so valid. It's so valid.
Because as soon as
and also this magical state of semi-pro as well, day job, but also doing it as well.
And then you're not reliant on it. You don't have
it's so important. I think so many people should I think it's brilliant. I think amateur, semi-pro, and pro are it's great.
They're all the thing.
People should be able to do all of those things.
Finally, AI, I presume, has that had any impact?
I hate it with such a passion.
Why?
I think it's awful. I think it's absolutely dreadful. Stop using it to design your comedy club posters. They look awful.
Surely you can design posters. It can't write your script though, can it? Or can it?
It can't do comedy. It can't do comedy yet.
But what it can't...
Why would I want to do comedy? Comedy is, and this performance is the most sort of human thing. It's the most human it gets.
You're absolutely right. And my belief is we're about to enter a golden age of entertainment for precisely that reason, because
the human stuff becomes so much more valuable.
It cannot stick its hand up a puppet. It can't do that live thing. Yes, potentially it could write a script or it could potentially, but what it can't do is the performance. It can't do at the moment live. And that is humanity, is in that space. And however much we might use ChatGPT or whatever for anything else, finding directions ready to be, we need that connection. And that's what you offer.
Totally. It's the human stuff.
It's the human stuff.
And also, I think ventriloquism is such a sort of primal thing. It's like tricking our really, really ancient, primitive brains, because we see something moving and hear the sound and then put the two together and go, the sound's coming from that thing, when it's not. That's what ventriloquism is. It's that very simple vocal illusion. That is tricking a very, very primal part of our brain. So that is so human.
Yes.
And then laughter as well is so primal.
It's interesting because we were talking about Avenue Q yesterday, the musical, which we both saw and enjoyed. Because they move their lips, don't they? When they
do, yeah.
But you still are not really looking at them.
No, I could move my lips, and a lot of people wouldn't care. So many people come up to me after the show and went, "I was really determined to see your lips move," but then I realised I'd only been looking at the puppet the whole time.
So that's sort of it in a way, isn't it? It's a bit of an illusion. It's like
misdirection, bit of distraction.
You're not sort of concentrating. You're not like, is he moving? How's he doing this?
Because there's an inanimate object that has come to life, and people will so easily suspend their disbelief because it's so It's such a joyful thing. Inanimate objects coming to life and imbuing them with that life is amazing. Yeah. It's magic.
Well, talking about joyful things, this has been a joyful podcast.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I have really enjoyed this. And
Can I get up?
yeah, sorry about that.
You can get up
With
if
the
you want.
serious bits over now.
Is he done?
Eugene, I'd like to say thank you very, very much for the first puppet on the podcast.
No, you're so welcome.
Well, maybe we could do a podcast just with puppets. That would be interesting.
Yes, fine. Is there enough space under the table?
Maybe, yeah.
But thank you both. Thank you both very, very much. And thank you for watching. And for any more information on this podcast or future or past episodes, do visit us our social media at The Variety Show Podcast. Till the next one, thank you very much and goodbye.
It's variety.